Isabella is my name. I'm 27 years old. Liam and I are the same age and have been married for 5 years. I work part-time as a homemaker. Although we were not yet parents, we were leading a reasonably contented existence. But when my husband's adultery was revealed one day, our routine existence was drastically altered. My husband's smartphone showed a name and a message as he got up from his seat. It was obvious that his mistress wrote the text. When my husband returned, I challenged him since I couldn't remain mute in such a scenario, and waited for his reaction. But my spouse said something that caught me off guard. Yes, I cheated. What now? Are you attempting to be bold? I'm not acting obstinately. I simply gave an honest response. What else were you expecting me to say? Did you really expect I would grovel and provide explanations? Without any regret, my spouse acknowledged infidelity and even started to tease me. It was quite haughty of you to try to question me. That's what I detest about you. I cheated because of this. What? You're the one who always says, do this, do that. That kind of lady is not someone I want to return home to. You see, you're already blaming me, which is why. I'm over it. In contrast to you, Chloe prioritizes me. She works as a nurse and is well paid. In addition, she expressed her desire to move in with my mother as soon as we are married in case my mother passes away. Oh, she's really considerate. Though she's 3 years your junior, she's a fantastic woman. Very dissimilar from you, who advised against sharing a home with my mother after our marriage. You are also unable to get along with my mother, even after moving in together. Do you believe that having you around me and my mother has any advantages? My mother-in-law was living alone till she lost her spouse at a young age. My spouse expressed his desire to live with her, citing concerns about her being by herself. But at the time, my mother-in-law was still in her late 40s. My spouse and I came to the conclusion that my mother-in-law would be better off living alone. My spouse said that was cold-blooded. We ultimately moved in with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law expressed regret that we must cohabitate. My son informed me that you were unwilling to live with me. No, that's not the case. Make no excuses. You have never been someone I liked. Let's avoid getting in each other's way. It seems that my spouse spoke with his mother, and she had not been fond of me since we moved in together. My spouse stated, I made the wrong marriage. We wouldn't have experienced this much trouble if I had wed Chloe right away. What? That is accurate. You are unable to defeat Chloe at this time. Furthermore, you are a wife who will be childless for 5 years. You would have been taken back to your parents' house right away if it had been many decades earlier. That's what my spouse told me. I gave him the divorce documents I had prepared because I could stand it no longer. Let's get a divorce if that is what you are going to say. Being with you would be pointless if I had to listen to such things. Actually, I was aware of my husband's adultery earlier. Haha, you have it ready, my spouse remarked. Show me the original divorce decree if you intend to file for divorce. Don't mince words regarding my infidelity. Did you not realize I was being unfaithful? You were withholding the documents from me because you thought I would plead. Never will I do that. I'll sign this divorce document right now if you choose to get a divorce. After saying that, my spouse signed the divorce decree without thinking twice. Now don't hesitate, and submit this to the court right away. Next my husband's advice, I filed the divorce paperwork with the court the next day, and ultimately moved out of the house. But my ex-mom-in-law replied to me, You know, you're still around? My son's divorce, wasn't it? Are you expecting my son to cry and beg for you to stay with him? That makes no sense. Get out of here. My son doesn't appear to be thinking about you at all. That's how my ex-mother-in-law talked to me as I was getting ready to leave. My ex-husband then said, That's correct. You are no longer living here. Leave this place now. My mother-in-law from before exclaimed, It's unbelievable. If you get worked up about one solitary affair, you're not much of a wife. My mother's correct, my ex-husband stated. However, Chloe is not like this woman, so I'm excited for the next one. Yes, the next wife is a kind nurse who thinks of me, my ex-mother-in-law said. I'm relieved that you split up with her. My former mother-in-law denigrated me and supported my former husband's adultery. I said in return, I agree. I also believe that my divorce was a wonderful thing. What? Never fear. By the end of the day, I'll be gone. The moving company will be here shortly, so please be patient a bit longer. The moving firm I had asked to come to my house came while we were conversing. One by one, they came into the house to remove my possessions. Now that my ex-mother-in-law is gone, I can finally breathe easy. My former spouse stated, we ought to have taken action sooner. While observing the moving firm, the two of them exchanged quiet looks, but they were going to discover that they had made a grave error. Hold on, how come you're attempting to grab the sofa? We own that. Leave it there. That woman isn't capable of taking it. No, this is what the client requested, so we'll take it. What? Hey, hold on. It's a disaster, Mom. Over there, they are attempting to remove the washing machine and refrigerator. What is happening? I don't know either. Despite their best efforts to stop them, furniture and appliances that they hadn't anticipated being removed were removed one after the other. The home was quickly cleared out, and at last I said, "Thank you for your help," and said goodbye to the two of them before pulling into my car. What the? The sight astounded my ex-husband. What are you trying to do? The mother-in-law of my ex yelled at me. What? By what do you mean? We're getting divorced, therefore I'm leaving the house. Did you not also tell me to get out of here immediately? That's not the subject of my discussion. Why are they removing items and furnishings from the house that aren't yours? Even the vehicle. Are you attempting to use them as an emotional anguish compensation? What? No, it's not like that. Then why is this happening? I gave the two of them, who were freaking out, an explanation. Well, when we were married, I used my own money to purchase this automobile, the appliances, and all of the furnishings. It makes sense for me to bring them along. What? In actuality, I bought the majority of the appliances and furnishings while I was single. The vehicle remained the same. I had saved up for my cherished vehicle while I was unmarried. I never heard that story. That's because he instructed you not to. Up until now, he has been acting as though he bought everything. He didn't want you to know that I, not him, was the one who purchased the vehicle, appliances, and furnishings. Perhaps he wanted to brag to you about how everything he bought. Liam, is this woman telling the truth? You claim to have purchased everything. Well, why would you lie like that? Well, I'll take everything with me since that's the way things are. Please purchase everything you require on your own. After being silent up until that point, my ex-husband suddenly recalled something and remarked, "Property division." What? Dividing properties. How about the partition of property? Surely property is divided in a divorced couple's case. It follows that we should also split up the automobiles, appliances, and furnishings. Everything is too much for you to handle alone. Is that accurate? Then this woman's statements are absurd. We have to give the relocation company immediate instructions to return the appliances and furnishings. That's not necessary. Why? What is the property of a married couple, do you know? It speaks about the assets created via a married couple's collaboration. Stated differently, the automobile, appliances, and furnishings that I purchased with my own funds prior to our marriage are not liable to property split. That's a lie. If you don't believe me, why don't you look it up on your smartphone? Apparently, my ex-husband found it hard to trust what I was saying. Right away, he used his smartphone to research property division. Still, it was precisely what I had said that was put there. They were both stunned as they stood there. First of all, when we separated before getting married, we made the decision not to share our assets. Do you not recall the agreement on marital property? Huh? Didn't you suggest that we make a marital property contract so that we wouldn't have trouble when we got divorced? I didn't, before we got married. Thinking about divorce before we got married? You know, it's just in case. It is comparable to insurance. You plan ahead to avoid problems in the event of an illness or injury, correct? It's identical to that. We used his statements as the basis for the contract. It dawned on me later that individuals with substantial assets, or those who remarry and have kids, tend to make marital property contracts. You proposed that we create a contract since you didn't want me to steal your wages because you had a better job at the time. I now make more money than you do, though. I earn more than you. That is untrue. However, I'm appreciative. I didn't lose any property because of your suggestion that we create a marital property compact. I'm grateful. After hearing the anecdote, my ex-mother-in-law became agitated and exclaimed, "Wait a minute. Are the roles inverted? You make more money, do you? Why do you often imply that my son is impoverished? He's employed by a big corporation. Oh, he quit just before he married me." "What?" "He said there was a boss he didn't like at work or something, but he actually caused a lot of damage at work and was fired." "What did you say?" "Mom, hold on while I explain. I then spoke with my manager at work, and I now earn more money than him because he now works at a factory for a big firm." "It's unbelievable. Then the appliances and furniture you previously discussed?" "You're correct. As payment for the harm he inflicted, he lost all he had earned. He was too poor to purchase new appliances or furnishings." He shook as was to be anticipated and added, "You're making fun of me. I refuse to accept that." "What? What did you say?" "No, it won't do. I'll immediately alter that confusing contract's contents." "It's impossible to change the contents." "I can do it." "Is it true that you can't remember?" "You were informed at the time that you could not alter the contents for any reason following your marriage." "Is this material appropriate?" "What?" "This means that no matter how much you shout or cry, the truth won't alter. You cannot reverse your decision once made." "That is deception. Probably not enough information was given to you. Why don't you go speak with someone if you believe it to be fraud?" "Well, even with consultation, I don't think it can be reversed." I said that the two of them held their heads. To make matters worse, I said, "Oh, there's one more thing I need to mention. I've already ended our agreement here, so please depart in the next several days." My ex-mom-in-law was taken aback. "What topic are you discussing?" "This is the apartment that my kids signed a lease for." "Yes, it is also false. I signed a lease for this flat when I was first single. We had an agreement to live in a new house together and contribute money, but once he lost his job, he moved into the house I had rented for cohabitation and canceled the room he was renting. And now here we are. My mother-in-law, who was unaware of anything until today, ended up taking up my residence." "That's unbelievable. Did you conceal it from me as well?" "Indeed. He appeared to go to such lengths in order to preserve his dignity." "Why didn't you tell me such an important thing?" "Because it's not—" When the falsehoods are all exposed, the two get into a heated argument. "Well then, that's it," I remark, glancing at them. "I am really grateful for what you have done." I turn on the engine and take off. I see the two of them talking to me in the rearview mirror, but I have no business knowing what they are talking about. But the tale didn't stop there. He contacted me a few hours after I left that residence, pleading for assistance. There has been a horrible incident. I never imagined things would go this bad. He spoke in a really frantic tone, but I understood why he reached out to me. "What? Did you discover that your girlfriend worked part-time instead of being a nurse? Or were you abandoned when your falsehoods were discovered?" "Why do you know that?" "I discovered more simply than I had anticipated since I looked into your girlfriend, because your adultery led to the divorce. You are being misled by your girlfriend." "What?" "In actuality, he called me and said, 'Never mind, we don't need her. Chloe is among us. We can reside in Chloe's house, but our plans will be a bit early. We can get by with just the two of us because she is a nurse. She also expressed a desire to tie the knot quickly, so I'm confident it will work out. Indeed, let us speak with that girl first." "Hello, this is me. Could I go over there right now? It's a little abrupt, but is that acceptable?" "What? Yes, but what's happening?" "I'm having a little trouble with my ex-wife, and I have to leave the house, so can my mother and I come over there?" After losing everything and finding nowhere to live, the two of them reportedly got in touch with the lady he was having an affair with right away. However, what are you discussing? Isn't that impossible?" What? However, you work as a nurse and have a comfortable home. Do you not have several rooms, in order for us to remain there? Let me be clear right away. I am not a nurse. My house is too tiny to house 2 people, and I work part-time. What? Were you dishonest with me? Why would you say something like that? I believed I needed to tell a falsehood in order to gain your attention. You work for a big corporation, therefore you wouldn't have paid attention to me if I had told you I was a part-time employee, would you? But still, my house is impossible because of this. Furthermore, you may rent a new home or stay at a hotel because you are employed by a large corporation, right? Your ex-wife's departure makes sense, but why are you moving out of the house? That is peculiar. Explain it from there if you're going to hold me responsible. Reluctantly, he disclosed that he was employed at a large company's factory, that his ex-wife had taken away all of the cars, furniture, and appliances, and that the house he shared with her had been terminated. She became enraged and said, "You're the one who lies more. A moment, please. How can I relax? We are no longer together. Choose someone else to rely on if you choose to. Farewell." Hold on. Hello, Chloe. That was the last time they heard from her. He had no one else to turn to, so he sought me for assistance. Please, could we just start over, Isabella? I am solely to blame. Come back to me. I'll take care of the household and listen to whatever you have to say from now on. My mother is also with me in this scenario, so it's not only me. If we are unable to locate a location, He had a really surprising change of heart when he realized he could only rely on me. Behind him, his mother said, "Isabella, I truly apologize. I had no idea how significant you were. I'll make amends with him, and together, let's resume our shared life. I'll also pitch in a little assistance around the house. Please accept our apology, and don't pout endlessly." She began to win me over, but my sentiments remained the same. Cohabit? Not in a manner. What topic are you discussing? I no longer interact with you in any way. Who would return to your home? What? Isabella, hello? What did you say? Have you not heard me? I will repeat it as often as necessary. I made a vow to never return to your house. I take it that this is the outcome of your own choice? After stating such things and not receiving the outcomes you want, you seem to be taking me for granted. Don't underestimate me. Stop underestimating me. Then, by being so docile, you're exploiting me. You're rather bold. At this moment, where are you? I'll come where you are if you tell me. I must have been quite pissed off with him for so obviously rejecting him. He yelled at me, but I was still ahead of him by a step. If I tell you where I am, will you come? Yes, I'll go there immediately, and you'll give me an apology. You'll apologize, claiming that everything I did and said was incorrect, and even though I'm such a failure, please move back in with me. Ah, I see. Come on over now then. I'm at my parents' residence. What? The home of your parents? You're correct. I take it you're coming? That being said, what's wrong? You appear less excited than you were earlier. Didn't you have an obligation to apologize to me? Come on over. The whole family is waiting. The truth is, he fears my father since he is a law enforcement official. He detests ignorance and things that are not sensible. Compared to my ex-husband, who constantly leads a reckless and carefree life, he is the whole opposite. Your father is scary, Isabella. What? That is untrue. If I ever cheated, I might not make it. Well, it may be accurate. I'm hoping that doesn't take place. He kept repeating it after we made the decision to be married and finished saying hello to our parents, so he must have been afraid when he found out I was at my parents' place. Well, I believe I'll succeed. I'm heading straight there. I believe it would be annoying if I paid them an unexpected visit. We don't mind, therefore it's all right. Since we've discussed everything, I figured they would be interested in hearing more from you. Have you already talked? It seems sense to inquire as to why their daughter might return unexpectedly to her parents' home, don't you think? I thus disclosed everything honestly and kept nothing hidden. So, what will you do now? Will you be attending or not? No. But it was too late now. Did you say you were leaving? Visit our home at this moment. When you come here, you should tell me everything." "Wait." My father grabbed my smartphone and yelled at him, knowing he had been listening in on the chat behind me the entire time. He was forced to visit our home once it reached this stage. He would endure considerably more suffering if he didn't arrive. He and his mother showed up to my parents' place around half an hour after that phone call, and he looked quite pale. I think you've heard a lot from Isabella, but there's a reason for this." "A reason?" "I didn't want to cheat or anything like that. Despite the fact that we both work for the same firm, Isabella, who works at the main office, is paid more than me. My coworkers have made fun of me for it, and when I come home, she yells at me, which is how I ended up chatting to other ladies and entering that type of relationship." He convinced my father that he wasn't at blame when he arrived at my parents' residence. "And afterwards, I witnessed your interactions with each other as cohabitants. Isabella's actions seemed a little off to me. Naturally, I believe my son should be held accountable for his infidelity, but since Isabella is also at fault this time, why don't we just call it even?" When the ex-mother-in-law entered the conversation, she attempted to shut it down by implying that everyone was at fault. "What are you talking about?" "So where was my daughter at fault in this conversation?" my father asked the two of them, after listening to the conversation in silence. "What? Well, as a result of her acerbic remarks." "Now, allow me to rephrase the query. What specifically said my daughter to you?" "You know, like, don't sleep, help with the housework, or why don't you take out the trash?" Words that convey the impression that I'm not at all busy. "Are you serious? Do you really believe that's sufficient to qualify as prickly words? Are you kidding, or are you a student in middle school?" "What?" "Furthermore, the fact that you misinterpreted my daughter's advice as sarcasm indicates that you had feelings of inferiority toward your wife, who makes more money than you. That is not my daughter's fault, nor is it justification for infidelity." Let's calm down a bit." "Slow down? Avoid being absurd. We trusted your son enough to allow our beloved daughter to wed him, but when he cheated and was expelled from the home, he later returned after being abandoned by his mistress. It's absurd. We're not going to pardon you, for whatever reason you came here for." My father's cheeks flushed crimson with rage. My mom behaved similarly. They remained silent, but it was clear they were upset. He observed their response and said, "I'm sorry. But like my father, I wasn't going to forgive him for such a flimsy explanation." I gave him the compensation claim document I had previously produced with legal assistance. "What? A demand for compensation? What were your thoughts? It was necessary for you to pay. Since you are a married guy who cheated, payment should be expected." "That's ridiculous." Upon seeing the amount on the invoice, he was taken aback. He couldn't afford it, so he requested a reduction, but he was unable to resist my father's scrutiny as he stood close and grudgingly took the money. I then forwarded his mistress a certified letter with the identical compensation demand. But I was also tricked. He claimed to be employed by a big corporation, so I started dating him. I had no idea that he was only a large company's industrial worker. Since I was the one duped, I am the victim and am not obligated to reimburse anybody. She claimed to have been duped and declined to give money in recompense. Naturally, this kind of justification was unacceptable. Ultimately, each of them made the payment I requested. Have they paid the compensation properly since then? Yeah, I guess they were scared of your yelling, so they paid it sooner than I thought. That's nice, I see. However, I never imagined things would go this bad. Neither am I. When we got married, I never imagined this would happen. Well, it certainly taught them two a lesson. What will those two do moving forward, by the way? You realize that they were evicted from the flat you were renting? Yes, it was something else I heard. The two of them wanted to rely on distant relatives since they had nowhere else to go after that. However, why are the two of you here? We have certain situations, but we can't disclose the specifics. Can we take a little break here? Since we are related, we need to support one another in times of need, right? Remain in this place? When we're in danger, let's help each other? Are you joking with me? You gave us a lot of grief, and now you say that? Actually, because of their past abuse and selfishness, these two had been estranged from their families. They were family, though, so they pushed their way in and begged for assistance. Naturally, the family ignored their plea and expelled them. Rumor has it that the two of them moved in together after renting a rundown flat. However, it's your fault that we ended up living like this. You are blaming me, but why? She fled because you mistreated and detested her. She departed for that reason. I'm not to fault. The direct cause was made by you. You're the worst since you were the one who cheated and fell for your mistress's scam. What? They became involved in the worst kind of relationship after placing blame on one another. Personally, I'm content with my existence by myself at my new rental home. I'm happy with the way things worked out in my life, even if it didn't